history and role of community legal clinics.
The history of the community legal clinics is also part of the overall history of legal aid in Ontario. Legal aid was first implemented in Ontario in 1951 by the Ontario Legal Aid Plan and is based on similar programs that emerged out of England and Scotland to assist people who are unable to pay for high cost of lawyers when they must appear before the court. It replaced services previously provided by lawyers on a charitable basis and was founded on the principle that legal representation should no longer be a charity, but a right.
I just have a brief background about legal aid. It says that people with lower income strata of the society do not get legal aid.
I just got to know that people who don't make much money, they need legal aid to help them out with the law and stuff, low income. And the students, I will say, they can be in any kind of trouble or anything. They're not making any money. They need that kind of support. Homeless people coming from different countries.
Recognition of this principle resulted in the implementation of legal aid programs in most of the Canadian provinces over the next few years. The establishment of publicly funded legal aid programs in Canada was a very significant development, and their impact on courts, lawyers, and clients cannot be overestimated. When legal aid was set up, it was intended that the same legal aid services be made available to the poor as were already being provided to fee-paying clients. Ontario's system differed from England and Scotland in that it provided both private lawyers who were compensated for their services through legal certificates and duty counsel lawyers who acted on behalf of people underrepresented in criminal courts.
So I work in criminal defense. I'm a duty counsel out of the criminal courts at the College Park Courthouse. Our primary focus is the bail court. So when people are brought in, we're kind of their first line of support. We're the people that they first meet with. We assist with bail hearings. Occasionally there'll be trial work, but we also assist clients in Ladue Court, which is the Indigenous Persons Court, mental health courts, and things of that nature.
Gradually, it was recognized that the poor had legal problems quite different from those of the non-poor, and it became clear that lawyers acting for the poor needed to be familiar with poverty law. Responding to unmet needs and a desire for communities to engage in self-help soon contributed to the creation of alternative legal services by community-based groups. One prominent feature of most of the early clinics was the employment of community legal workers. Generally, these were people without formal legal training, but often having a background in grassroots community organizing activities or coming from the client groups being served by the clinics. Often, these were people who, having achieved some expertise in a particular legal area through their own efforts in dealing with problems they were personally experiencing, had gone on to share their experience with others. Another significant aspect of these early clinics was the belief that the one-shot, case-by-case approach to respond to legal problems was inadequate because the problems of poverty were mostly of a systemic nature. While also representing individuals, these legal clinics served as a voice for the interests of poor people by focusing on welfare, rent review, workers' compensation, unemployment insurance, some immigration and debtor problems, tenancy agreements, all of which certificates are almost never or only infrequently given. These clinics transformed the concept of legal aid in Ontario. This community legal clinic model was decidedly different from the Ontario Legal Aid Plan services. In addition, all of the early legal aid clinics were established as alternatives to the government-funded legal aid plan and relied on funding from an assortment of sources. In 1976, under a new regulation under the Legal Aid Services Act, authorized the Ontario Legal Aid Plan to provide funding to independent community-based legal clinics to address the needs of low-income and disadvantaged Ontarians. Under this act, the Ontario government began operating the community legal aid clinics as an independent but publicly funded and publicly accountable non-profit corporation providing high-quality legal aid to low-income people throughout the province. As independent but publicly funded, not-for-profit community clinics are governed by a community-based board of directors. These boards are drawn largely from the communities served by the clinics. They were chosen by election of the memberships of the clinics. Generally, anyone eligible for service or supportive of the clinic's goals and objectives could become a member, and membership was usually actively encouraged among client groups. And they would be responsible for setting the policies of the clinic and directing its staff. The boards have the power to hire the staff most suitable to the community, define its staff responsibilities, and the services provided.
The role of the executive director really is to run the clinic, and that involves a whole bunch of things. One of which is to relate to our board of directors. They are responsible for really the big picture of whether it's in terms of immigration, in terms of social assistance, or housing, or employment law. Those are the main areas that we deal with. The funding application is what I'm responsible for, and making sure that the staff are doing their work and getting the support that they need in order to carry on.
In the years since 1979, the clinic system in Ontario has continued to grow and prosper. According to Legal Aid Ontario, there are 79 legal aid clinics presently operating in Ontario. The clinics provide legal assistance for problems in relation to basic needs, housing, and human rights, and a range of services that include representation in courts and tribunals, legal advice, law reform activities, and referrals to other sources of assistance in your community. There are 3 types of clinics: community-based, student legal service organizations, and specialty and ethno-linguistic. Community-based clinics help people in their local area with the following types of legal issues: social assistance, Ontario Works, Ontario Disability Support Program, and Canada Pension Matters; housing matters, disputes between tenants and landlords, and evictions; various employment matters, wrongful dismissal, and workers' compensation; some immigration matters.
My name is Nazareth Maines. I'm one of the lawyers here at Neighborhood Legal Services, and I specialize in the area of income security, and I do some housing law work as well. So our clients are those who fit within the financial criteria.
I work predominantly with people who are experiencing severe mental illness, and also often people who are experiencing homelessness, and many who also are criminalized through the things that they do to survive, which might include substance use or sleeping on the street. I do some work supporting people going through the refugee determination process or who have other immigration-related difficulties.
Newcomers often, depending on if they were refugees or if they're just getting settled here, they might have a harder time getting settled.
They're folks that are citizens and have been here for a very long time as well, who are experiencing eviction applications that their landlords have filed. We also serve clients looking for income security assistance, and that's clients who, let's say, who have absolutely no income. Our help for those clients looks like, getting the necessary medical documents to be able to demonstrate that you're either unable to work, take care of yourself, or to participate in the community because of your disabilities. And a lot of the clients that we see who are looking for that kind of assistance just don't have the ability to be able to organize themselves in that way, or just don't have the legal knowledge, or both. If you think about it, someone is homeless, they would need to travel with all of their documents with them all the time, right? Yeah. That's in addition to all of the belongings that they have. So a lot of clients who are within the shelter system will have their medications stolen from them, and sold on the black market. So there are a lot of difficulties that I think we're not aware of for those of us who sort of take our privilege for granted in terms of having a place to live.
Student legal service organizations are clinics affiliated with law schools where law students serve clients under the supervision of instructors. SLASS help people in their local area with some legal issues associated with the following: family law matters, criminal law matters, social assistance, housing matters, disputes between tenants and landlords, social housing matters, some employment issues, some immigration issues, mental health legal issues, refugee and immigration law, university appeals. Specialty and ethno-linguistic clinics assist people across the province providing services in a specific area of law or to a particular community. In addition to providing legal services to individuals, several specialty clinics also advocate on behalf of the particular community they serve. Some of these communities include Indigenous communities, Black and other racialized communities, the elderly, children, and youth, Centre Francophone de Toronto, Chinese and Southeast Asian Legal Clinic, HIV and AIDS Legal Clinic Ontario, injured workers, and those living with disabilities.
Are you dealing with a criminal matter and wish to apply for legal aid certificate? Call Legal Aid Ontario 416-979-1446 or toll free 1-800-668-8258. Are you dealing with a housing matter, need help with a wrongful dismissal, or immigration matter? If you're experiencing mental issues, are being held in psychiatric facility and do not want to be there, or need help with a fitness hearing, contact a community legal aid clinic. Call Legal Aid Ontario 416-979-1446 or toll free 1-800-668-8258. Are you low income and looking for legal aid services? Call Income Security Advocacy Center at 416-597-5820 or toll free 1-866-245-4072. If you are HIV positive and looking for legal aid services, call HALCO, the HIV and AIDS Legal Aid Clinic Ontario at 416-340-7790 or toll free 1-888-705-8889. Are you a parent or guardian and looking for children and youth legal aid services? Call the Justice for Children and Youth 416-920-1633 or toll free 1-866-999-5329. Are you looking for legal services regarding an environmental issue? Call the Canadian Environmental Law Association 416-960-2284 or toll free 1-844-755-1420. Are you a senior citizen and looking for legal services? Call the Advocacy Center for the Elderly 416-598-2656. Please call your local clinic first or toll free 1-855-598-2656. Are you a renter looking for legal aid advice regarding your rights as a tenant? Call the Advocacy Center for Tenants Ontario 416-597-5855 or toll free 1-866-245-4182. Are you a small-scale landlord and looking for advice in a legal matter? Call Landlord Self-Help Center 416-504-5190 or toll free 1-800-730-3218. Are you living with a disability and looking for legal aid services? Call ARCH Disability Law Center 416-482-8255 or toll free 1-866-482-2724. Have you been injured at work and are looking for legal aid services? Call Injured Worker Community Legal Clinic at 416-461-2411. Call your local clinic first. Are you concerned for your health, safety, workers' compensation, human rights, and employment standards reprisals at your job? Call Workers' Health and Safety Legal Clinic 416-971-8832 or toll free 1-877-832-6090. Are you incarcerated in a Kingston area prison and looking for legal services? Call Queen's Prison Law 613-533-2102. Are you low income or a newcomer and looking for information about the Ontario legal system? Contact CLEO, the Community Legal Education of Ontario, at www.cleo.on.ca or www.stepstojustice.ca. Are you looking for Black legal services? call Black Legal Action Center, 416-597-5831, or toll free, 1-877-736-9406. Are you an Aboriginal person living in Toronto and looking for legal services? Call Aboriginal Legal Services, 416-408-3967, or 416-408-4041, and toll free, 1-844-633-2886. Are you a low-income francophone living in Toronto and looking for legal aid services in French? Call Centre Francophone de Grand Toronto, 416-922-2672, extension 300, or toll free, 1-877-966-7345. Are you low-income Chinese, Vietnamese, Laotian, or Cambodian and looking for legal aid services in your own language? Call Chinese and Southeast Asian Legal Clinic, 416-971-9674. Walk-in 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. every Wednesday, or toll free, 1-844-971-9674. Are you South Asian and looking for legal services? Call South Asian Legal Clinic of Ontario, 416-487-6371. Are you living in Toronto and Spanish-speaking and looking for legal services? Call Center for Spanish-Speaking Peoples, 416-487-6371.